Hello and welcome to another live episode of Going Wild with Wildlife with me, Stuart the Wildman Mabbutt. I've actually gate crashed Pete's show again. Welcome to your own show, Pete.
Oh, thank you very much.
Have you missed me?
Absolutely. Well, missed you 6 weeks ago when the snow was here.
Yeah, I know. This is, we were meant to do this 6 weeks ago, but...
Wildlife bit back, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but now it's a bit warmer, so we're here. Pete's going to be my producer today, as always, and last time I was here we had William Mankelo and Ross Arrowsmith, a videographer and a photographer, and we were talking about, you know, the different skill sets out in nature.
Are they still around doing videoing and photography?
Yeah, they're still out there.
Yeah.
They're still. We're running a crowdfunding campaign that actually ended about 1 minute ago, so they're there in Oxford sorting that out. But anyway, today's show we've got more guests. I've got two guests, and they're separated by a number of decades, but they're joined by a love of nature. And we'll be talking about trail cameras. And you get any idea what trail cameras are?
These are the ones that they fix to trees and things, is it? To photograph wildlife?
Yeah.
From a distance, or
at night,
when it's triggered
when you're not there.
Yeah.
When you're not there. And so wherever you're listening, I hope you'll learn something today about this technology. And maybe you'll try it and then see what's out in your own garden when you're not looking. So I'd like to introduce my first guest today. We've got Dave Gallimore on the phone from Lancashire. Hi, Dave.
It is indeed, yes. Hello, Dave.
Thanks for joining us. And you're basically, last time we met, I was actually on the beach at Llandudno in North Wales, and my hat was seen disappearing over the Irish Channel. And you went and saved it for me. But that's the last time we met. But I'd like to talk to you today about trail cameras, Dave, a little bit later. But I will just first off, you're a wildlife gardener up in Lancashire. Now, tell me, what's a day in the life of a wildlife gardener in Lancashire? I remember we did a show about an allotment you took on, and you wanted to make it wildlife friendly. How's that going? Now, I know you're a big Twitter man. How can people find you on Twitter? Yeah. Well, I still remember that show we did back then, and I must come up and have another look, see how the allotment's coming on. But stay with us, Dave. I'm going to introduce, after a piece of music, our next guest. But coming up on the show, wherever you're listening, is I'm going to explore more about Dave's work up in working with nature up in Lancashire. We're going to meet a very increasingly active young naturalist teenage naturalist who writes the Appleton Wildlife Diary. We will have a listener request of a piece of music that to them reflects nature in some way. We will have a look at this trail camera technology that I want to discuss. We will have the usual 4 philosophical nature questions, and which I asked Pete last time.
You did, didn't you? Yes.
Yeah, and you struggled with. We'll have a topical news item, and we will have countryside island discs, where our studio guests choose 3 tracks of music that to them reflect nature in some way. So it's a packed show, so stick with us. It's a very different wildlife show. But up next, I've got another out and about section. Now, have you ever heard of a goat sucker, Pete?
I hadn't until you wrote to me.
Yeah. So we're gonna hear about goat suckers. This was by a good sound recordist called John Patterson, and he will explain to you what a goat sucker is. So away you go, Pete.
Oh, hang on. Let's start that one again. Right, here we go.
You need to be out of dust. Wondering about
You ready for goat sucker?
10 inches long, has whiskers, and an enormous mouth. It's superbly camouflaged to look like a piece of woodbark, and it spends the day lying motionless on the ground. It starts to get lively at dusk. You may not see it, but you may hear it. In days gone by, when our forebears kept goats, it was a cause for concern. When they went out in the morning to milk the goat, and Nanny Goat had less milk than usual, there was an explanation. The goat sucker's about. I did hear a churring last night. So convinced were the early naturalists that this mysterious creature with the big mouth was stealing milk from the goats, that they gave it the Latin name Caprimulgus, which means goat milker. And this is still the official scientific name. The English name goatsucker is still used, but the goatsucker is in fact a bird which is officially known better as the nightjar. We now know that the nightjar feeds exclusively on insects, usually caught in flight. This is where the huge mouth comes in useful. It's easy to imagine that mouth closing gently over a nanny goat's teat as she lies peacefully, chewing the cud through the night. This extraordinary song is sometimes maintained for anything up to 5 minutes without a break. It is known as churring. From time to time, you can hear a slight change of tone as the bird moves its head from side to side. When it's perched on the branch of a tree, it prefers, unlike most birds, to sit in line with the branch rather than across it. There are other birds which have this amazing ability to continue a long phrase of a song which is remarkably similar, apparently without taking breath. For example, there's the grasshopper warbler, whose song is known as reeling, as if reeling in a fishing line. There is Savi's warbler, a bit too much like the dentist's drill. And there are insects, such as the mole cricket, which makes its song by rubbing its front wings. And the field cricket. But these other sounds would be heard only from nearby, whereas the nightjar's churring can be heard at a considerable distance. If you're lucky enough to get close, you may see the male doing his courtship display to the female by clapping his wings behind his back while flying. or you may hear this discreet call as he flies past, dodging this way and that, catching moths. In October, they will be on their way back to Africa for the winter. In May next year, they will be back in Britain, as often as not, the same pairs returning to the same spot as last year. From the 1930s to the 1970s, the number of nightjars in Britain was in decline. But the good news now is that with the improvement of the habitat, the number is now increasing significantly.
You're back with me, Stuart the Wildman, Mabbutt on Choice Radio Worcester. My producer Pete.
Hello.
And on the phone from Lancashire we've got Dave Gallimore. You still with us, Dave?
He's not fallen asleep yet. That's
no,
okay.
he's not fallen asleep. I know what them Lancastrians are like. Excuse me. And we're in our studio. We have Alex White, who is the author of the Appleton Wildlife Diary over in Oxfordshire. He's a 14-year-old naturalist. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you.
Now, what does a wildlife blog entail? What does it mean to administer it?
So, to do a wildlife blog is basically to just go out and go on my local patch and see what's out there. And majority of the time I come across these rare well, not rare because they happen all the time, but it's the rareness that humans don't go and see them. So it's, for example, the other day I was out walking and I came across a sparrowhawk killing a green woodpecker. And that would be rare to me because I've never seen it before, but it wouldn't be rare to wildlife because it would just be the general everyday hunting.
So what's your speciality?
And my speciality is mammals, especially badgers and hares and foxes.
So how did you get into it?
I started in May 2013, I think, and basically because I was bored. It was May half term, and I just got a camera. I went out for a walk, started taking photos. Start writing this blog, and then I haven't stopped since.
Dave, when did you get into it? How old were you when you got into wildlife and nature? Mm. 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 David Attenborough was involved in that, wasn't he? Mm. 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 So you can come at this at any point in our life, it doesn't matter when, but Alex, you've spoken on a number of panels.
Yes.
How did you get invited to do that?
I think it's just through work with different organisations, and then once you've got that high enough with working, you eventually just get invited to panels and talk.
Because you're getting quite well recognised with famous naturalists.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to do this as a 14-year-old, you must have good support from your family.
Yes, yeah, I do have amazing support.
So, but your mum sat quietly in the corner. She's not going to be taking part in this, but she often comes with you and she always hides away. Yeah. But the support, how does that come about in reality? What does that support feel like to enable you to go out there and do what you do?
Well, the support is great because not just the family, but also all the followers on Twitter and Facebook and all the social media. It just is just inspiring just to keep going.
It's all good. Okay, well, your mother's picked, Debbie has picked a track of music for a bit later in the show that to her reflects music, nature, but you'll introduce that for her because she doesn't want to speak. But we've got another listener request for a piece of music that potentially reflects autumn, and it's a listener from down in Somerset. So let's have this, Pete, and see if anybody recognises it. That was the Mamas and Papas there. This is Stuart and Wildman, Mabbutt, and this is Going Wild with Wildlife. I've invaded Pete's show. He's my producer.
I like being called that.
Yeah, producer Pete. Can we have a time check, please, Pete?
It's 10:20 exactly.
10:20. Welcome back to Alex White in the studio. He's my guest.
Hello.
And Dave up in Lancashire in northwest England. Welcome back. Is it 10:20 up there as well, or you got a different time zone up there? Yeah.
You've probably got different weather up there, have you, today? Well, that's different from here.
we have.
Ah, lovely.
Okay, well that's not what we got down in
No.
Worcester.
No.
So, or the whole of the south of England, I don't think. Anyway, Alex, I want to explore trail cameras on this show. How do you use them personally?
So I use trail cameras to film my local badgers and basically any wildlife that comes across. But the best way that I use my personal trail cameras is through getting normal behaviour that the animals would be behaving out in the wild without any human distractions.
Is that possible? Because there's so many people moving around these days.
Yeah, it is possible because I've done it before, but it's more to the fact that so in certain places where, say, the general public aren't allowed, but I've been given permission to put the trail cameras down there, then you get some rare footage. Well, not rare, but like I said earlier, not yet, but that sort of footage, but of behaviour that wouldn't normally be seen.
Dave, what have you captured using your trail cameras up there in Lancashire? Do you need permission to put them up? Okay, Alex, what are the key features for a camera that you know, when you want to buy one or so, what are the key features you look for when purchasing one?
So when I go and buy a new one, which I didn't really need to, the main things I look for is the video quality, if it can shoot in night and day, so if it's got night vision, and how well it blends in, and also locking mechanisms, because that's one problem that I do have with a lot of trail cameras, is that some of the trail cameras don't actually have good enough locking mechanisms.
What's a locking mechanism then?
So it's just either a little lock at the bottom, so when you put it to a tree, it doesn't get stolen, because I've known people that have had their trail cameras stolen.
Is this human stealing or squirrel stealing?
It's human stealing,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. So, question to both Dave and Alex. I'll let you argue who answers this first. But what would you say your favourite model of trail camera is? Who
Dave.
wants to go first?
Dave, do you want to go first?
Alex, what are your favourite types?
Yeah, my favourite types are Bushnell, like Dave said, because they're just amazing lenses, and there's the one that I've got has got a little screen that comes with it, so you can see where you're putting and aiming the camera at. And then I've got another one, which was a cheap and cheerful one. It's called Little Acorn. It does really good at night, but not so much in day, and it's just a small, cheap one.
Mm-hmm. Dave, where you said when you go away on holiday you use them, but where would you think of actually fixing a trail camera if you wanted to capture something in an area you didn't know? Where would you be targeting to fix a camera? Hmm. Alex, I mean, when you're recording, obviously you want to save the footage. I mean, what's the saving process? I mean, how easy is that?
It's pretty easy. Basically, it's just the SD card. You just need to put it in the computer and then download all the files.
So it's the same sort of card as in the back of a digital camera?
Yeah, it's
Right.
exactly the same.
So, Dave, can you watch these camera footage live, or is it all watching back the recorded stuff? Hmm. Hmm. So Dave, how do you think the technology will progress from here? We're sponsored by Bushnell this show.
Yeah, lots of mentions.
Yeah. Mm. Alex, where would you like to see the technology go that maybe, as a user, I mean, what do you think it, should be doing if anybody's listening who designs this stuff?
Well, if anyone's listening that designs it, I wouldn't mind having, Bluetooth would be pretty nice. So if a video is recorded, it could be sent straight to either your phone as an email, saying, or that was Wi-Fi, exactly the same. As just any way that we can get straight information that there are animals down there doing that behaviour. So that's good for me, because then I know if I can get the times to go down there and actually go and watch the animals.
Dave, where would you like the technology to go that maybe there's some weaknesses in the equipment you're using? Mm. Mm. So, to both of you, I mean, if anybody's listening to and thinking, well, I'll go and get myself a trail camera, what sort of budget do you need, Alex?
I'd start off with, like I said, the Little Acorn, because it's cheap and cheerful. It does what it needs to do, and it's just really cheap. That's what's good about it.
Dave, how much would you say somebody needs to have in their pocket to get started? Hmm. 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 Okay, Pete, can we have a drum roll, please?
This is the approaching menace drum roll,
Yeah,
is it?
the approaching menace.
Here it is. It's well titled, this track by Neil Richardson, isn't it?
Mm. Okay, the 4 philosophical nature questions. Have you heard these, Alex?
No.
No. Well, I sent you a link. You should have listened.
No, I don't know.
Send me
Dave,
one.
yeah. Dave, have you heard the 4 philosophical nature questions before? No. Oh, so they're all cold. I like this. Okay, so Dave first. There are 4 philosophical nature questions, and this is the first one. Is there any such thing as human nature? Why are you so convinced? Okay, simple. Do you believe in human nature, or?
Yeah, I completely agree with Dave. Yeah,
Right.
it's just a thing.
Question 2 to Alex. If you can characterise it, how would you characterise human nature?
Any other human nature is basically any other behaviour than any other animals. It's just a way we do, or
Okay,
way we act.
Dave, because you used to be a man of the cloth. Yeah, and so how would you characterise, in your experience, human nature? Mm. Mm. Question 3, Dave. Is human nature good, bad, or indifferent? On the individual. Pete. Pete, is human nature good, bad, or indifferent? I asked you this back in July. See if you give the same answer.
Oh, that was a year and a half ago.
Yeah. You need to sort your maths out. It's 9 months ago. July.
Was it?
Yeah.
Last year, not the year
Yeah,
before.
no, it was
Oh.
last year. You must have missed me.
I've missed you so much. It can be either good or bad. It depends on the humans involved, really, doesn't it?
Do you think the circumstances influence?
Yes, it will do, because circumstances affect people's behaviour, affect people's expectations, affect people's interaction with other people, apart from anything else, and how they react to that particular circumstance that they're in, which could be good, it could be bad.
Okay, Alex, as a teenager, in your experience so far, is human nature good, bad, or indifferent?
Oh well, if I'm going to be brutally honest, I am not a fan of humans. I would prefer to stay away from everyone. So
He's just leaving the studio now.
and, yeah, I'm just not a fan of humans. So it's a bit of both. It depends on the situation.
Mm.
So both of what even Peach have said is yeah, it just depends on the situation.
Okay, Alex, then the last philosophical nature question. What is the goal of human life?
Wow, that's deep. Cool. I think it's mainly just at this current stage in time. I think it's just to grow up, have some money, and live a good life at the current stage in time.
Dave, what's the goal of human life? What drives you? What drives you? Okay. Okay, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Going Wild with Wildlife with me, Stuart the Wildman Mabbutt, and I've got two guests. Dave Gallimore is on the phone. He's a wildlife gardener from Lancashire, and he's obviously on the phone. And we've said the weather is sunny up there, but what's it been like this week? Has it been sunny in the lead up to this? Well, the last time I was up north, probably about 3 weeks ago, it didn't stop raining for a week. But that was in Manchester, but it always rains in Manchester. Yeah. Mm. I've also got Alex White in the studio with his mother. Alex is the author of the Appleton Wildlife Diary, based in Oxfordshire. When did you start that?
May 2013.
And why did you start? You were bored, you
Yeah, I
said?
was bored, yeah.
You could have done anything.
Oh yeah, but wildlife was mainly my thing because my parents used to take me out battle watching when I was around 2, so it's always been a thing of mine.
Okay, well, this section of the show we do a topical news item. Any idea what it is, Pete?
Plastic.
Plastic.
And I didn't even see the script.
No, plastic. How did you know?
It's the in
Topical,
thing,
no,
yes,
topical
yeah.
news item. Now everybody's thinking about it because of the blue planet and the supermarkets. I think are really getting on board trying to reduce plastic But Britain are lagging behind on this compared with some countries. People think China is, an appalling environmental disaster, but actually they've got some good techniques and approaches, so we can learn a lot from them. But how would you say, Dave, in our everyday lives, everybody who's listening to this, we can make a difference to plastic? Is it possible? Mm. 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 Do you think? But why are we so slow at looking for alternatives? Human nature. Human nature comes back to the philosophical nature question. Alex, is it too late?
No, it's never too late. Well, until
it is.
Yeah, until it is. Yeah. But there's still a chance, to fix the problem.
So, but as a youngster, how do you view the world we presented you with, that you've got to deal with?
Terrible. Yeah, since the industrial age, it's just gone downhill. To be honest, it's just just pollution.
How can you change that?
I'm not going to be able to change it myself. Everyone needs to do their part.
Yeah.
And even if it's just doing a small beach clean and picking up litter anywhere, that's just a little helping hand.
Dave, digging into your man of the cloth years, you've had an insight into human nature and all different walks of life. Do you think it's a topical issue now, plastic? But do you think it's just a popular buzzword, or is actually a change actually happening at the moment? So, Alex, why should we care?
Well, we should care because although it just affect wildlife, it would also affect the human beings because in biology, actually, in school, I'm learning about the food chains. So, for example, if we were to wipe out a complete species, for example, fish, that would affect other animals, which then would affect other animals, and then we'd just keep going until we'd actually wipe ourselves out.
This has been going on for decades, centuries. Why are we only now taking notice?
I think now we're taking notice because it's actually got to that point where some species are going extinct, and I think Blue Planet actually does show that very well.
Okay, so your opportunity, both of you, Dave and Alex, to talk straight to our listeners, not listeners. What would you advise our listeners when they get out of this hospital? Where would you advise them to look at making a change in their own lives to make a difference to the environment? Dave, go first. Alex.
Yeah, Dave made some good points there. Yeah, the best thing to do is just help in your possible way, and then if everyone does that, it will just go better than it is now.
Okay, we always come to the end of a show with Countryside Island Discs, where I get our guests and anybody in the studio that we can grab hold of to pick 3 tracks of music that to them reflect nature in some way, the environment or wildlife. Now, if you've got any ideas of tracks that we could include, if you go on to Facebook, Going Wild Wildlife Facebook page, or on Twitter, it's Wildlife SM, and you leave a comment there and I'll have a dig around, and if you've got some interesting bits of music. The most common thing I get asked, Pete, is Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, but we haven't got that today. We've got something.
We've got a few tracks lined up,
yeah.
all of which I quite like myself as well.
Exactly. Anyway, Debbie, Alex's mother, she picked this one. Are you going to?
Yeah, but Debbie's here. Look, she's sitting in the studio.
Come
Look, there's a microphone there. You can
Come on.
just say hello.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. She
Oh,
speaks.
yay.
So this is Alex's mum,
Yeah.
who's chosen the next piece of music.
So what have you chosen?
So I've chosen the Water Boys and the Whole of the Moon, and it just reminds me of every time we go down badger watching. It normally is the moon is rising, and we're just sat there waiting for the badgers to come out.
Okay, so this is the Water Boys. I think this was about 1985, 86, going back a bit.
Something like that, yeah. It's quite a long track as well.
Yeah.
So she's getting her money's worth here.
Exactly. So let's go for that.
Well, Whole of the Moon.
The Water Boys there, and the Whole of the Moon. Alex, you've chosen a track. Before you say what it is, why have you chosen this?
Well, like Pete said, because it's an amazing song.
It's not quite how I phrased it.
Well, that's not how you phrased it, but I think because how it just almost represents how I enjoy wildlife. So I've had my ups and downs with wildlife. So, for example, one of my animals that I was studying was actually hit by a car and killed, and that was very disappointing for me. So this is what the song almost reminds, because when it goes to the chorus, it actually almost represents how it goes.
So what memories, when you listen to this song, come out?
I think it's just mainly just through my whole wildlife experience since I started, just the whole actually coming out and enjoying it.
Okay, do you want to announce the song?
Yes, it's Mr. Blue Sky.
By ELO.
Yep. Yeah. play this song so much, don't I? You didn't like it.
ELO drove me nuts.
Really?
But the only, apart from, who was the Lovely Day? The song Lovely
Bill
Day.
Withers.
Yeah, but Bill Withers. I can't stand Bill Withers.
What's that got to do with yellow?
No, that's the only thing that's worse.
Oh, right.
Is Bill Withers. I had somebody pick Lovely Day. Oh my God! I knew somebody would pick it one day. It's just possible.
Well, that's only well known because of its
it just
massively long.
It's just like, look, I've run out of things to say, so I just keep repeating it. You know, it just drives me nuts. That's all. If I knew somebody would pick it one day, and I had to play it.
Mm. But yellow have got so many hits.
Yeah.
You don't hear the same one again and again.
Mm.
Stacks of them.
What year was this?
Oh no.
I guess 79.
It must be towards the end of the 70s, I thought.
Yeah. 78.
It was around the Jubilee time, 77.
77.
Yeah.
Mm.
Dave still there?
Oh, it should be.
Sorry.
Oh, he spoke to you just now, didn't he? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You hate this one, don't you?
It's not one I've listened to.
Two
my
haters
choice.
and two lovers in this one.
I don't hate it. I just
It's like it.
I think it's a waste of my life.
It's a good song.
Well, you listen to it whilst doing something.
Yeah, it's more
You
productive.
don't just sit and listen to the song doing nothing.
When we get to 52, we'll come out of it and then go over.
This is sacrilege, this is fading out
Yeah.
songs. Don't do that.
You do when you're over ready. That was ELO, one of my favourite tracks, Pete.
Ooh, you lying to
Well, no. Well, it's being filmed, so no doubt it'll be recorded.
Oh, yes.
So how much I love that.
Yes. Keep saying it, we'll believe you in the end.
Anyway, thanks for listening to Going Wild Wildlife today. With me, Stuart the Wildman Mabbutt. Your producer today was Pete. I've invaded his show. Thank you, Alex and Debbie, for coming in.
Thank you.
You're the author of the Appleton Wildlife Diary in Oxfordshire. How can people find you?
So my blog is www.appletonwildlifediary.wordpress.com and I'm going to say my Twitter handle, and that is @AppletonWild.
Appleton Wild.
Where does the Appleton come from? What's the
It's the
relevance?
name of the village I live in.
Okay, right.
Dave, you still with us? Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a friend over the last few years. And wildlife actually brought us together in the wilds of Cheshire and Lancashire a few years back, if I recall correctly. Yeah, Chorlton, wasn't it? Yeah. And if people want to contact you, how can they do that, Dave? Before we ask Dave what his track of music is to reflect nature, Alex,
Okay, yeah.
your burning question to ask me. I gave you about 3 hours notice on this.
Oh yeah, you did.
What's
yes.
your burning question to ask the wild man?
What's with the hat?
What's with the hat? Oh, wow. We've
This is
got,
radio, so you'd have to explain that you're wearing a hat.
I'm wearing a hat. It's an Australian bush hat. It's my trademark. You know,
So every time I see you, you're always wearing the hat.
yeah, but that's the point. Yeah, that's my trademark, and if I want to be anonymous, I take the hat off because nobody notices me. I guarantee you, if I was walking down the road, you wouldn't probably think. Because I was in a garden centre with my wife a couple of years ago, and she wanted to get a load of plants. So I said, well, I'll hold the trolley, you go off, and just bring it back to the trolley. And I took my hat off and threw it in the trolley, and she could not find me. She'd been married to me for 17 years. She couldn't find me. So it's just how
it works.
It works.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dave, have you seen me without my hat on? Yeah, it looked Llandudno when it was blowing over the Irish Sea. Yeah. Okay, so Dave, what's your track of music you've picked? Why? What emotions does this track elicit in you? Okay, so Dave, I haven't prompted you on this, but what's your burning question for the Wildman? Where did I get that?
Hat topic.
Oh, I think my wife got it from Tatton Park Flower Show. I think, I can't remember. You know, it's a good hat. Pete, burning question.
Oh gosh.
I've been in this studio 3 times. You must have a big question you want to ask me.
I'll let you know next time.
Okay. There you go. I see. I like putting people on the spot. You know, you had no more hat questions.
No more hard questions, no.
Anyway, so I thank you all for listening today. I hope you get well soon. I mean, how big a hospital is this, Pete?
It's about 450 beds, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, really.
And it's stretching.
Do you get to meet many of them on your?
Yes. So we go ward visiting, so we meet the patients as well.
So they know. So they know what the Pete looks like. Then.
They might do. And they've got our website as well, which has all our details on.
So how did you get into hospital radio?
30 odd years ago, I went along to a meeting for ward visitors. They were asking for people, and 3 of us went along, and all 3 of us are still here.
Well, there you go, and
something about it, obviously.
Yeah, and it's one of the nicest studios I come to, I have to say. It's always nice and tidy, apart from when I throw my stuff on the floor.
Which you will be picking up before you leave.
Yeah,
I'm sure you.
I know. Anyway, so thank you for listening, and this has been Going Wild to Wildlife with me, Stuart the Wildman Mabbutt. I will leave you with Albatross. Thanks for coming on, Dave. And thanks for coming in, Alex.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And his mum too.
Oh, and
his mum too. Okay, so Albatross, and I will be with you again soon. So until next time, goodbye.